Yo, what is up guys, Shinobi here back again with another video for you guys, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with another reaction video, and we're going to be reacting to Wuthering Waves fixed in months, what Genshin could in years. I'm going to be seeing what it is, though, to be honest, I already know what it is. I mean, we just got artifact, or not, echo loadouts. The only thing that Wuthering Waves needs to fix at this point is honestly the 50-50 system, which every game needs to fix. When you get into something, you should just be able to get it. You shouldn't have to worry about if you're going to not get the character or not, but hey, they got to make money somehow, but even still, that's way too predatory. And they also got to fix the feature that with, as far as getting materials to upgrade your echoes, they need to, not have that gate kept behind using your materials to, that you'd usually do in order to get stuff. Like, if they get rid of that, we're all solid here. Me personally, the only thing I feel like would make sense to kind of gatekeep, even though honestly I feel like that you should be able to just farm anything in the game without having to gatekeep, it's just like getting the bosses materials so you can level up, like, just your characters. And even then, I don't know, I feel like that shouldn't even be a thing. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff that I feel like shouldn't be a thing. But either way, Wither Wings, what I've seen between Genshin and them, they're just doing better. They're just doing better. Genshin right now is in a pretty bad state. But I digress. Let's see what this guy's got to say. This is honestly just for shits and giggles at this point. I'm gonna be real with y'all.
Genshin Impact is in one of the worst states it has ever been. Corporate greed? Check. Predatory monetization? Check. Quality of life exploration locked behind an expensive paywall? You betcha.
And the crazy thing about it is, with all those problems, Genshin players will still praise the game and show for it like it's the greatest thing on the planet. And he only named like 3 out of probably a million other problems that the game has. Like the fact that the game, as far as their in-game content, is just quite literally a freaking damage check. It's not even like you need skill to play Genshin. You can hop into that game and play for 3 hours and be good at the game. It's just all dependent on how powerful your characters are, which means that you need to summon, for more characters and get more C1 characters and C2 characters, and the drill. You make money, basically. That's what Genshin wants you to do. They want you to get to the in-game content, see that you can't kill the characters because you can't do enough damage no matter what you do, and then on top of that, then be like, oh, now I need to spend another $300 to $1,000 either C6 in a character so that I can be able to do the damage and then call myself good at the game, or just not be able to do it and suffer. And that's not, yeah, but he's probably about to explain majority of this, so what am I yapping about? And that ain't gonna happen. That's basically
despite
it.
all of this, Genshin developers remain the most stubborn, out-of-touch game devs in the entire gaming industry.
They're not even stubborn. It's just that the half of the community is too busy shilling for the game to the point where they won't have to change it. Like, if you have, it's not an, yeah, if you got one half of the community basically shilling for the game and defending you, like, and you're getting a majority of your money from that half, then you're not going to care about the other half, because guess what? One half is still giving you money, and enough money to get the game still going. The game, the company is a multi-billion-dollar company. And I don't know about you, but all these boycotts and stuff that Genshin supposedly have been doing, boycotts in air quotes, by the way, they just ain't doing nothing because people are still spending money in the game, even though they complain about certain things, and they're still playing the game. If you want this company to listen, because the only thing they're going to listen to is money, is stop playing the game, stop spending money. But they ain't going to do that. They can't miss out on their waifu, bro. I swear to God, man. FOMO gets these guys so easy, it's not even funny.
Do they even know what the players want, or do they just not care? Personally, I think it's probably the latter.
Here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Shit, they don't got a reason to.
Because after 4 years of ignoring
5 years now.
request,
5.
rejecting every reasonable suggestion, and doubling down on the mechanics that frustrate players, they have suddenly decided they want feedback. But not just any feedback, a survey. Yes, folks, a totally real, totally not performative survey. Not an announcement, not a...
It's definitely performative. They have to do these surveys just so they can say that they did them, but they don't care. They're probably putting those surveys out just like these people be putting out job freaking applications and say, hey, we're hiring, and then they just don't even look at it.
Developers post not even an acknowledgement that the changes are coming, just a form they didn't even bother to put in the game for the players to see. And what's even worse, people are actually celebrating this. They're acting like this is some grand moment of change,
which is crazy because they put out plenty of surveys before and they still haven't changed shit. So what does this survey mean? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The game is still trash after 5 years.
Devs listened. Devs listened.
They didn't.
devs listened. As if Genshin hasn't been pretending to listen for years. So let's
5
talk about
years
why
at
this is
that,
the most
man.
hilariously embarrassing attempt at listening to the community Genshin
They
has
weren't.
ever done. A few
They
days
still
ago,
ain't
Brand
listening. They
Online
don't
posted a
care.
tweet, and if you've been in the gacha space for any
You know what I think is I bet that after Fontaine, and they did a good job with them, with the whole region and how they've done that. The mechanics and the gameplay was still iffy, and still I'd still say really bad. But as far as the story goes, you know, the characters and how it all went, I bet that Natlin was a test. Okay, let's make this character, this new Archon, absolute dog water. Let's make the captain absolute dog water as far as the story that they did. Let's test our community and see if we actually have to make a compelling story that's good for them to complain or not. Like, let's make this absolute dog water. Because if they complain enough, then that means that we know we have to change this stuff. Because that means we need to actually, you know, make money. But if they don't complain, then that means we could just throw any slop that they've been throwing out for the last 4 years now, and that they're just going to eat it. And as far as the story, they've been doing all right. It's not the worst. Fontaine was where the peak was at. But this last thing that they did with Natlin, absolute dog water. And for some reason, you got half the community just eating it up. But I digress.
Amount of time, you already know when a drama starts, there is about a 95% chance that it involves a tweet. This is just the world we live in now.
Genshin players, we have an opportunity to make meaningful changes in the game.
No, you
the
don't.
survey and the reply to this tweet.
I
wasn't
wish
posted
it was
anywhere
true,
in-game
but
like
you
usual,
don't.
As far as I can tell, it is for very specific things we have been asking for. Fill it out, please.
Meaningful changes? Oh, I thought the Shields agreed that the game was perfect. Why?
Yeah, that's the funny thing, too, is they say that they want the game to get changes, but then when we criticize the game, then all of a sudden the game is perfect and that they need to defend their billion-dollar company that does not care about them at all. Like, I don't get it. Like, the hypocrisy is astounding.
Change perfection. Now, let's be clear. The issue isn't really Bran himself. He's just another Hoyo shill doing what Hoyo shills do, hyping up every breadcrumb Hoyoverse throws at him like it's a gourmet meal. We know this already. But here's what is a problem. The absolute delusion of people acting like this is some major turning point. A survey that wasn't even officially announced anywhere, that they have already done before with absolutely zero results. And
Yeah.
this is what gets people hopeful. At this point, it's like watching someone keep going back to a restaurant that serves.
And it's sad because they're getting hopeful because of the fact that this isn't normal for them. They're getting hopeful because for the first time in probably 5 years, the community is finally going to be able to tell the devs what they want, and the devs still ain't going to listen. It's actually sad.
Some cold, unseasoned food and thinking this time it'll be different. Newsflash, buddy, it won't. Which brings us to Bran himself. Bran Online is the type of guy who complains about bland food at a restaurant and then keeps coming back for more. And not just that, he complains while actively ordering more food and tipping extra. At some point, you have to wonder if he actually has a problem or if he just likes the abuse. Like, dude, you were just ranting about how Genshin banners are getting more and more predatory, how they're pushing characters out faster, giving them trash filler weapons, and making free-to-play.
Bro, the whole game has the problem, bro. Let's be real. And how much you want to bet that even though he complains a lot about the game, you know what he does instead of stop playing it? He keeps dropping money into it. I bet he probably C6s every single character because he makes money from the community. Which, I mean, get your bread. But you can't be talking about one thing and then go and do the exact opposite of what you want to happen. Like, come on now.
Players feel like they're falling behind. And then what did you do? You turn around and C6 Mavika. Let me spell this out for you. If you're still throwing your wallet at them, what's their incentive to change? There
None.
isn't one. You're
Zero.
rewarding the exact behavior you're criticizing. It's like getting scammed by a used car dealer and then thanking them while buying another lemon of the lot. Now, to be fair, at least he's
Facts.
spreading the awareness about the survey, because Genshin sure didn't, which brings us to the real issue here. Genshin didn't even bother announcing the survey. Not in game, not on Twitter, not in their Discord, nowhere. It's almost like they don't actually want people to see it.
They didn't. They just wanted to throw the survey out and then be like, hey, here's the survey, you know, we did it. And then they're just going to go back to making money from the Hoyo shills to defend this game like it's Jesus Christ.
That if they were serious about getting real feedback, they would make it impossible to miss. Instead, it's buried in the deepest corners of the internet. It's like some secret side quest you have to
They
do
don't
to
care,
find.
man.
And yet,
They
here
do
comes
not
the
care.
replies. Wow, they are actually listening. This gives me hope. Thank you, devs. Devs listened.
These poor children, bro.
I'm sorry. Are we actually
These
thanking
poor
a
children.
billion-dollar company for doing less than the bare minimum? This is
And that's the whole point. That's the summary of how Genshin Impact is in the general. Why the hell are you, as a player, expecting breadcrumbs from a billion-dollar company? Why are you accepting that? This is a billion-dollar company who's taking your time that you're putting into the game and your money, most likely, and yet you keep praising them for doing the bare minimum. You should be roasting them for how bad they've been doing with this game for the last 5 years. Like, what are we doing out here? And it isn't helping that you've been shilling for the game for the last 4 years, even though there's been problems. Like, what are we doing? The only thing they've done decently at best is the story. Everything else, like the quality of life and what people have been asking for, they've been doing terrible with. Terrible. Like, people have been asking for some of the stuff that Wuthering Waves has been getting in the last 6 months, and it's been 5 years, and they ain't got none of it. Let alone, Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail, though they have their own issues too. It's just like, what are you all praising them for? They ain't doing nothing.
Like praising a landlord for finally fixing the plumbing after 4 years of leaks. And let's not forget, this is far from their first survey. They have been asking for feedback for 4 years. What was the point of every single survey before this one? If this is the one,
the same one as this survey?
Seriously. Oh, right. There was no point because none of them actually mattered. Listen, I used to take these surveys seriously. I would sit down,
we all did,
into them and really think.
Bro, how many surveys I bet that I did, or even people like Tectone and other people who played Genshin, how many surveys we probably put our time and effort into to be like, yo, we need this, we need that, we need quality of life updates, not to be locked behind characters. We need to be able to farm for, character ascension materials without having to wait until Monday to do it. Like, there shouldn't even be a date on that when you be able to farm character ascension materials or even the skill materials. Why is there even a set day for that kind of thing? We all know the reason. It's because they want you to spend all your primo gems to farm that kind of stuff so they can get more money. But why is that thing, right? Why is the weapon banner still have 50/50s or 30/70s and all that crap? It should be like Wuthering Waves, where as soon as you get the banner, you summon, you hit pity, or you hit early and you get the weapon. No 50/50 required. Why is traversal mechanics, like being able to, ride on a bike really fast across the land, or being able to sprint, or being able to like climb walls, why is all that locked behind characters? Why? Like, I can keep going, bro, but the point is how many surveys did we complete back then just for them to do nothing? And that's the point, is we realized, at least those of us who have quit the game at this point in time, we have realized that they aren't going to fix it, because you have half the community that keeps shilling for the game, keeps throwing their money into the game, and they just have no incentive to fix it. They ain't going to fix the game until you guys stop playing and you stop spending money. It's as simple as that. The company operates off money. The gacha games operate off money. When they stop getting money, they start making changes because they want to keep their player base. But if you keep giving them money while complaining, you're just basically killing your own effort. You might as well not even complain at that point because you're still giving them money.
Through my feedback, my friends and I would hop into a call, break down the update, and give actual constructive criticism. Like rational people who actually care about the game. And then after a while, we had this realization, an epiphany, if you will. None of it mattered. These surveys mean as much as a summer ant. Actually,
nothing.
No, that's generous. At least the summer ant contributes to the ecosystem. These surveys, they are purely performative. Let's do the math. 4 years and 2 months. That's how long Genshin has been running. That is like 50 updates, hundreds of surveys. And what has actually changed? Oh wait, nothing. The resin cap is still outdated. Artifact grinding is still hell. Endgame is still non-existent. Imaginarium theater, whatever. If that's the best that they can do, holy, think about what kind of devs you're glazing. They're still pushing
the garbage
premium
devs
skins like a fast fashion brand while pretending that the player base hasn't been asking for meaningful improvements since 2020. Why would anyone believe that this time is different? What is the incentive for Hoyoverse to suddenly listen that they've spent 4 years proving they don't? This isn't a real discussion. It's a formality. It's a corporate theater. It is Hoyoverse pretending to be engaged with the community while continuing to ignore everything that doesn't serve their bottom line. The same bottom line that has been made them billions, while leaving player with a game that is actively getting worse. And the best part, they don't even have to try anymore. Genshin players have been trained to thank them for scraps. They know they can put out the barest minimum of effort, throw in some buzzwords like player feedback and meaningful change, and their most loyal fans will eat it up like it's the second coming of Archon Jesus. But you know what? Enough mocking. You all already know what I feel about the game, so let's just go and dissect the survey. I mean, how bad could it be? They want to
it's gonna be bad.
Let's just go into it. First question, how satisfied are you with the time limit on a...
They know the problem. Based on this right here, they know the problem. How satisfied are you with the time limit on acquiring level up materials for talents and weapon ascension materials on a weekly schedule? That shouldn't even be locked behind a weekly schedule. You should be able to do that whenever you want. Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, and freaking Zenless Zone Zero allow you to go into the game and farm for whatever materials you need for your characters, weapons at any point in time. You don't gotta wait until Monday. You don't gotta wait until Tuesday. You don't gotta wait until Wednesday. You don't gotta wait until Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday to go and get a certain thing for a certain character. You can just hop in the game and do it whenever you want. They know what the problem is. This is already insulting. Like if I was a Genshin fan and I saw this, I would be insulted. I mean, I would have been insulted years ago, which is the reason I quit. But still, this is insulting. They know what the problem is.
Acquiring talent level up materials and weapon ascension materials. How satisfied? As if there's an acceptable answer to this. If you pick anything other than very unsatisfied, I genuinely do not know what to tell you. This system has been universally hated for over 4 years. Your ancestors in heaven know this system is bad. Future generations will be born knowing this system is bad. There's gonna be documentary videos talking about how this system is bad. And yet somehow, all your shills are still out here defending it like it's the pillar of game design. Why do I need to schedule my life around a gacha game? It's supposed to be casual, not a full-time job where I have to track materials availability like I'm filing a tax return. And then there's...
But you don't know how annoyed I was. Because I didn't really mess with it that much because I didn't care. I was just trying to play for the story, at least when I was playing Genshin. But you know how annoying it was when I tried to get Kazuha to see... not to see... Yeah, what am I talking about? When I tried to go and get Kazuha's materials to level up his, talents. And there'd be days where I'd hop in there and thinking I could just jump into the artifact domain, or not the artifact, but the domain. And it's like, oh, you gotta wait until this day to do it. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. And it was so bad, bro. I still don't even think I have my Kazuha's talent level maxed out. I probably only got it to a certain, decent point to where I liked it, and I just left it alone. Anyway, let's see what this is. How satisfied are you with the material farming experience from weekly boss fights where each boss can only be farmed once per week and materials drop randomly? Same thing. Like, come on now. You already know the answer to this question.
Once a week. Hoyoverse, you literally put the problem in the question. You know it's bad. You wrote it out.
It's literally insulting.
But instead of just fixing it, you're asking us to confirm.
Like, this survey, based on what I'm seeing right now, is literally just a slap in the face of the Genshin players saying, we know what the problem is, and we know you're going to eat up this shit like it's slob, and we're still not going to fix it. And we're going to still take your money while we're at it.
You already know. This is like a doctor diagnosing you with a broken leg and then handing you a clipboard asking, so on a scale of 1 to 5, how painful is it? What are you doing? Waiting an entire week to farm a single boss drop is insanity. You pull a new character and can't even upgrade them immediately. You just sit there twiddling your thumbs, praying to the way that the boss finally resets.
Yep. And meanwhile, in Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, and Genshin Impact, you can farm these damn bosses every day.
If you don't, congratulations. You just unlocked another week of suffering. You can finally continue your edge streak. Congratulations. You are a clown. At this point, Hoyoverse isn't even pretending they don't know these systems suck. They just don't care. They would rather put the responsibility on you, the players, to tell them something is bad, even though they have been bad since launch. Oh, and here's something really interesting. This survey magically spawned when Wuthering Waves had its 2.1 live stream.
I'm telling you right now that the only reason this nonsense is happening, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start fixing these problems soon, is there's a lot of people now that it's acceptable to criticize Genshin that are getting off of Genshin, quitting the game, and moving over to Wuthering Waves. In fact, they didn't start making changes into Genshin, the few changes that they did make, until Wuthering Waves started coming out and doing the stuff that people have been asking from Genshin for 5 years. It's because they got competition that now Hoyoverse has to slightly try. I say slightly because they still ain't trying because they're still making money. The moment that people finally, and it's going to probably happen in the future as more games come out that are better than Genshin, they're gonna start losing people. And when that starts happening, you're going to start seeing changes. But by that point, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late. In fact, I would say that if Genshin wants to fix their game and stop fucking around, they need to do it right now, because there's already a bunch of games that I'm playing right now that are better than this in the gacha space. Honkai Star Rail's still doing all right, though they got problems they need to fix if I'm going to keep playing it, but right now they're still doing all right. Zenless Zone Zero looks pretty fun. Wuthering Waves looks pretty fun. Hell, I'm pretty sure even freaking Phantasy Star Online has gotten my attention a little bit, even though that game still has a lot of problems according to what I've heard. Helldivers, Stellar, I have plenty of games to play that are better than Genshin. And the one question that people need to be asking in that dev team is, why the fuck do we come to play Genshin over all these other games? And right now, I can't give you an answer because you don't. The game is trash right now. There is no reason to play Genshin over Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, or Honkai Star Rail, or hell, even any of these AAA games that have been doing really well. I'd rather play them than to be suffering in that game right now.
A coincidence. Genshin has been ignoring complaints for years, but suddenly, the second Wuthering Waves makes a noise, Hoyoverse is like, oh no guys, we totally care. Tell us what you think. We're listening now. You're telling me this isn't connected? You're telling me Genshin suddenly wants feedbacks at the same moment Wuwa is making waves? Hoyoverse, be honest. If you really wanted feedback, you would have done this when people were actually begging for it, not when your biggest competitors is gaining traction. At this point, if I want Genshin to improve, I should just fill out a Wuthering Waves survey instead, because apparently, Hoyoverse only listens to Kuro games. Let's talk about a real thing, actual game improvements. Because while Genshin is busy pretending to care, Wuthering Waves has been delivering. Look at what Wuthering Waves has added since launch. We're talking massive quality of life updates, genuine balance changes, and no, the big one, echo loadouts. You know, the thing Genshin players have been begging for since 2020. The thing we were told was too hard to code, or whatever excuse the Hoyo shills were.
It's not, bro. And the fact that the people were defending that bullshit was so stupid. It's the same thing that they do when people talk about putting a skip button into the game, bro. It's too hard to code to put a skip button. No, it's not, bro. Holy shit.
And yet Kuro Games, a much smaller company by the way, managed to pull it off in a few months. So tell me, how is Hoyo Shills gonna defend their multi-million-dollar...
Not even a few months. I think that Wuthering Waves has only been out for... It's almost like their 1 year anniversary at this point. It's like, it's been less than a year. And they're doing stuff that Genshin Impact fans have been asking from Genshin for 5 years, man. Like, it's honestly embarrassing. Like, if I was Genshin Impact, I would be embarrassed. Because you got other games doing it and doing stuff better than what we are doing. And making us look like garbage, bro. I would be embarrassed.
Company now. You all love bragging about how much money this company makes. You boast about the revenue you personally don't even see a cent of. But where's that money going? Is it being reinvested back?
You know where it's going? For anybody who's seen the memes, it's going to that Teletubby collab that they're having pretty soon. Yeah, you heard me right. Hoyoverse is having a Teletubby collab. Not a Bleach collab, not a Naruto collab, not a freaking Fate Stay Night or Devil May Cry collab. You know, they're having a Teletubbies collab, bruh. Absolute clowns, bro. All your money that you put into that game going into some garbage collab instead of fixing the game. And let alone what else.
Or are they just pocketing it while feeding you the same recycled content year after year after year? I'll say this outright. I back the right company. If this is the level of competition Hoyoverse is bringing to the table, then Kuro Games deserves every bit of praise it gets. Maybe now, some of you should open your eyes to what's happening in reality. A company making billions does not mean they have a good game. Money...
It doesn't. And all it means is that y'all are dumb for supporting them. All it means is that that company can put out slop and y'all will just eat it right up. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that it's good. Money, a game making a lot of money doesn't mean all the time that it's good. It means that they know how to make money. That's it. It means that they know how to cater to a player base to get them to spend money in their game. That's it. Doesn't mean that the company's good or that the game is good. Let's get it through our heads. And I know a lot of Genshin fans who probably end up watching this video, especially the shows, are going to be mad about that. But I'm going to be real. I live in reality. I'm not on Twitter. And in the reality, you know, if a game is bad, I'm going to stop supporting it. I'm not going to be like these so-called boycotters who only boycott for 2 seconds and then hop right back on and C6 every second. You know, C6 every single character that comes out. I'm actually going to boycott the game. But I digress.
Is not an indicator of quality. It is an indicator of how successfully they can exploit their audience. And the craziest part, Wuthering Waves has every right to be just as predatory. It's a gacha game, right? They could have gone full greed mode like every other title in the genre. But
they decided not to.
They made a game that feels like a game first, gacha second. And that should be the standard moving forward. But instead, we have people applauding Hoyoverse for throwing them a survey. At the end of the day, this survey isn't about change. It's about pretending to care while doing nothing. They know the problems. They have known them for years. If they wanted to fix them, they would have done it already. They have no reason to listen to you when they know that you'll keep swiping, keep defending, keep making excuses for them. And yet here we are, watching people fall for it again, acting like this is some massive shift, like this is the moment Genshin turns it around. No, it's not. It's just another meaningless survey, another empty promise, another cycle of disappointment. Genshin players deserve better, but they will only get better when they stop blindly trusting Hoyoverse. So before you defend your multi-million-dollar company, ask yourself, are you trying to make the game a better game, or are you brand online?
We know what the answer is, boys. We know what the answer is, bro. Let's be real with ourselves. The reason why Genshin has gotten as bad as it has is because for some dumb reason these idiots will defend it from criticism, like Genshin Impact is not allowed to be criticized. That's the only reason the game has gotten to the point that it has, bro. And until they stop doing that, until they finally get their heads out of their butts, the game is going to continue going downhill, which really sucks. Because I enjoyed my time on the game when I did play it. But it got to a point where I had to stop tolerating the disrespect and move on to something else. And that's the thing for me, is I can move on. I put money into Genshin, not a lot, thank God. But even still, I'm not going to be stupid and keep playing and spending money in a game that just ain't doing what I need it to do. We hold AAA studios accountable for their actions all the time. We don't buy their games when they put out garbage. Take Concord, Dustborn, Dragon Age the Veilguard. Every game they have made so far that has been garbage from the AAA studios, we have not bought. We don't reward bad behavior for AAA studios. So why the hell are we rewarding bad behavior for a gacha game that's making billions upon billions of dollars? Why? It doesn't make sense. But I digress. I wonder what you guys think. I think this pretty much sums up how bad Genshin is right now in a nutshell. And, I wonder what you guys think down below. Am I wrong? Is this guy wrong? I mean, we already know we ain't, but I want to know your thoughts and comments down below. Peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.